Hello everyone, I'm Nini FC, this is Blue Lions TV. Welcome to the match review of our 2-2 draw against Vidi, and let's be serious, it was quite an anticlimactic end to our Europa League group stage games. But of course you guys, I'm going to be getting into the match review later on. You know what I'm about to say, smash that like button, help me get more than 500 likes for this video, and press the bell notification button as well to stay tuned to all things Blue Lions TV. But anyway, getting straight into things. Starting with the match lineup first. Now, finally, we saw Ampadu getting a start. Now, I'm going to talk about Ampadu later on in this video, so stay tuned for that. But it was great to see. And obviously, beforehand, Sarri brought some youngsters from the youth team and brought them as part of the squad. Unfortunately, we never saw George McEachran getting any game time, but if you guys want to get an understanding on the type of player that McEachran is, CFC Videos has released a compilation video on him, so that is CFC Video. Make sure you go to his YouTube channel if you want to get an understanding on what type of player McEachran is. Now, the most interesting thing with this lineup is that Hudson-Odoi started on the right-hand side instead of Willian, and for me, I think that this was quite significant because I honestly feel that Sarri now is going to start considering using Callum down that right-hand side in the league when he needs to. And it's good to see that Sarri is testing him in different positions to really try and understand what he can provide to the team. Getting straight into the game, I'm going to start with the tactics first to get that out of the way. Now with Vidi, and it was quite natural, of course, you know, they have a massive possibility of qualifying, so it was natural that they were really going to take this game very seriously and approach it very professionally as well. And I kind of feel that due to the effort they put in their performance, I feel like they did deserve something from this game. Now, Vidi didn't just try to defend deep and soak up pressure. They used a mid-block system and they defended off the ball. They reverted back to a 4-5-1. And obviously, with their 4-5-1, they like to use a man-marking system, meaning that, of course, all the players in midfield were assigned to a player and they stayed quite close to them to make it harder for us. Now, they allowed us to play out from the back and do whatever we wanted. But as we've been seeing quite recently, you know, we are struggling to find the spaces between the lines. Now, hear me out, of course, later on during the game, we did find those spaces between the lines and we were able to play ball essentially. But during the first 60 minutes of this game, most of our play was coming down the wide areas. And I think that Vidi weren't really getting stretched as much as they could have. And when it came to counter-attacks, they do what every other team does. They were forcing their balls behind our fullbacks. Of course, with how we use our fullbacks, they do push very high, they do support the midfield, and they support the players in the final third as well. So whenever there is a loss of possession in Vidi's half, it's natural that it's going to be easy for them to create counter-attacking possibilities down the flanks. Now, when you've got guys like Emerson and Zappacosta where, you know, I sympathise a bit, they haven't played as much, it's natural. I mean, we saw Alonso and Aspi really struggle during the start of this season when it comes to being in the right position, so I'm not going to be too critical on those players. But of course, if these guys aren't very fully experienced playing Sarri ball, come on, it's natural that if you're not really accustomed to the system and the tactics, your positioning is going to be a bit off. Now, with Zappacosta, I feel like his positioning's always been poor. But with Emerson, I'm going to be a bit more lenient because I like what the guy provides in the final third. I really do. And I think that he's the type of player that could really benefit from getting more game time. I think if he plays along with the first team players, he's going to really get to things much quicker. And I think that Sarri needs to start taking that risk now because, of course, December there's going to be a ton of games. And I'm hoping that Sarri is going to give Emerson a game in the league. Still, as I was saying, a lot of the stuff we were doing was coming down the flanks. And during the first half, I would have to say that Willian was our best player. He was very incisive. And I feel like I say this every single time, but I'm hoping by now people will understand this. Willian is much better down the left and playing through the middle. He's much better when he can play to his stronger foot. The guy's a winger. I wouldn't even say he's really a playmaker. He's a winger that likes to take shots and goals. So when he plays on that right hand side, it's not the same. And to be honest, we saw another comparison to my point, and that was Callum Hudson-Odoi. Now, of course, he was very incisive down that right hand side, but he really stepped up and found another level when he was playing down that left-hand side, where he's more comfortable cutting inside, you know, moving into the half spaces and driving centrally. When it comes to Willian, I feel that, of course, we understand we can get a better option down that right-hand side. I agree, I'm not complaining with you guys, but we have to understand and appreciate the context. Unfortunately, because we don't have that top-class right winger, Willian in a way has to sacrifice this game playing on the right-hand side. Now, your argument could be, well, he's been playing there so much. he should be much better by now, but football doesn't really work like that. But if anything, I think that Callum Hudson-Odoi really gave a good account of himself in this game. And I was tweeting about this earlier. What I love about the guy is that he uses both feet when he's running with the ball. And I always look at the top class attacking players by how they like to run with the ball. A lot of times people like to use their pace and they like to use their body to beat a man. I look at the top players use their feet to beat their man. And that's what Hudson-Odoi has. He's got a left foot and a right foot. How many times is he able to just keep possession of the ball when he shouldn't? You know, he's finding passes that he shouldn't, finding people when he shouldn't, because he's able to use his left foot when he needs to. And I think that that's very good. And the guy is so young. Imagine in the future how he's going to develop and get even better as a player. I feel that this guy really is a top class talent. I'm hoping that he does get game time in the league in December. I honestly feel like there would be no excuse for Sarri not to use him. I honestly think the guy is ready. You can see it with how he plays, the confidence in his ability and what he can provide. I feel that the goals will naturally come the more he plays, but I think that Sarri has to start considering this guy as someone to use in the final 50 minutes, really help him get used to the Premier League and get up to steam. But hopefully Sarri's going to take the plunge and start believing in Callum Hudson-Odoi. But of course, it's finishing with WILLIAN. He took his free kick very well. Now, I don't understand why people on TV were stating that it wasn't a free kick, but you know, as typical in the media, they don't really see the same things us fans do. It was a great free kick by WILLIAN, in my opinion. I think he placed it very well. But again, you know, with Vidi, with the heart they really showed today, I think they were deserving of the equaliser they got. Now, again, throughout this game today, of course, they kept exploiting the spaces in behind. They kept finding success between our lines. And I think it was more down to the fact that this team haven't really played that much together. Now, Ampadu was very unfortunate. I think Ross should have done much better at the near post, but at the same time, you know, mistakes do happen, so I can't really hold it against him too bad. I think that Ross is much better playing in the Kante role, as I've been saying, because I think that, you know, he plays better when he's supporting the play. He's not someone that's going to take responsibility and influence it, because I don't think he's that good to do that, but I think that he's technical enough, and I think that he's got a decent all-round game where he can provide a very good supportive role down that right-hand side. But anyway, with that goal, I think Ampadu was unfortunate. Now, some people might think, why aren't we using the tall guys at the front post? I understand, but remember, we're not a very tall team. We need to have some height in those areas because we do use a zonal marking system. And let's be serious, you know, defending zonally is going to be our main issue this season. And in a way, we can't do anything about it because we don't really have that height to counter against those teams man to man. But with Ampadu's game, I think that he showed that the guy's got ability. I think that obviously his passing options were very good. You like to look for a forward pass quite a lot. I think naturally, because he hasn't played as much, it's really hard to really be too critical with him. But I think that he's shown enough where it's like, with Cahill going, I think that we don't need to sign a defender. I think Ampadu is good enough to really, you know, take over that Cahill role. And I'm hoping that Sarri's going to show more confidence and use them more throughout the season. Now, just to wrap things up, of course, fantastic goal by Vidi to make it 2-1 on the volley. Incredible goal, credit to them. Their fans are really going to remember that moment. Again, you know, I agree with the people on TV. Who do you really blame for that goal? I guess you blame the guy who lost possession. But I think that's quite harsh. I think that it's one of those goals where, you know, it just happens sometimes. It was a fantastic cross, fantastic shot. No one could really do anything about it. I guess maybe Zappacosta could have got tighter, but again, during that transition, I can't really blame him. It was just one of those undefendable goals you can't really do anything about. But again, just to end things, I personally feel that, you know, when Pedro came on and when Hudson-Odoi moved to the left-hand side, I think things look better. And I think whenever Pedro plays, I feel like our game's just faster, especially down that right-hand side. Now, Callum was good, but I think with Pedro and his ability to make those runs in behind, it makes it better. And I think with Giroud's introduction, the only thing I like about him is the fact that he occupies opposition defenders. There's always two guys on him. And when that happens, that gives more space for the inside forwards down the left and down the right. And I felt that the combination plays down that left-hand side were better. I think with WILLIAN, too often he was keeping the ball for himself, which he was entitled to do. You know, he was desperate to score today. But I feel that when Callum played, you saw more combinations between him and Ruben. And I think this is how we were able to create the spaces between the lines, and especially with Pedro's movement and Giroud's occupying those defenders, it gave us even more freedom in those central areas. And I feel like if we had an entire half playing like this, I guarantee we would have won the game. But it was a great goal by Giroud. Now, I really wasn't expecting him to score from a free kick, but I thought his introduction was decent in my opinion. But anyway, you guys, that's going to end the match review. I know some people might be saying, Nini, what are you talking about Ruben today, etc, etc. Well, that's why I released the 5 talking points video after every game. So stay tuned for that for more insight and my opinions. I'm going to keep it moving. I'm Nini FC. This is Blue Line TV. Signing out.